We are starting today with super keyword, Java super keyword and Java super function. We'll discuss these two topics and then we'll also cover this keyword in Java. So let's just start. We'll start with the super keyword first. Suppose we have a class C1, and in this class we have a variable integer x, and we have another class that's C2. This is the child class of C1. So this is child class, and here also we have a variable x. Okay. And now we want to uh, access these two variables. So let us quickly create the main function class example1. And suppose we create an object of C2 class. C2 which equals to and extends. And this is a default constructor. Then we can have a parameterized constructor between So here we have a class. This is a base class C1. This is a base class C1. This is the child class C2. Now, the important thing is that both of these classes have a variable x. So here, if we want that we want to access both x, this class x as well as super class x, then to differentiate between these two x, because this will be inherited and the child class will have these two X variables. So to differentiate what we do, we use super keyword. Super dot X means this X. And when we call this dot X means this X. If we do not use either of the super keyword and this keyword, what will happen? The computer will not be able to understand which X we are trying to access. So whenever there are two variables in a class which have like the parent class and child class have same name and same scope, then to differentiate between the two variables, we use super keyword and this keyword. If we do not use either super keyword or this keyword, what will happen? Only this variable will be accessed, can be used, and this variable will be overridden. So to access the overridden variable in the child class, we can use the super keyword. So if we want to print, we can use this super dot x, and here we can use this dot x, and we can also have two variables and parameters. We can give first value to super and second value to this class, and we'll be passing on two values from here as well. So now if we compile this program, let us see. Now you can see that this x value, this is the value x of the child class, and then the that of the super class that is coming. So here again, let me explain once again. In inheritance, when the base class and the child class have variables by the same name, then the parent class variable, uh, I mean this variable, will be hidden by this variable. So this x of C2 will hide the x of C1. Now to use both of them, suppose we have to use both of them, then we will use super.x to access C1 class x, and this dot x to access C2 or the child class x. And here also same thing. This is child class x, and that is super class x. So this is how we can refer using these two keywords, this keyword and the super keyword. You can see now child class x is having value 6 and super class is having value 5. So since we are passing on 5 and 6, and we are passing 5 to the super class and 6 to the child class. So to differentiate between two variables when they have the same name, that one is the parent class variable and the other is the child class variable, we use super keyword as well as this keyword. So this is one example wherein we'll be using super keyword and this keyword. So what is the purpose of super keyword and this keyword? In case of inheritance and overriding, we use super keyword and this keyword to differentiate the variables of parent class and child class. So now the question arises, suppose we have variables with different name. Let me create one more function. I'll create one more function. I'll copy everything. Let's come to another example. I'll change the name here. And now suppose the parent class or the base class variable is x and the child class variable is 5. Then here, if we write super.x and here we'll dot this dot 5, this is perfect. But it is not required because once we write x, it will assume that x is of the base class and y is only in the child class. But even if we write it, it will not have any effect because the computer will automatically understand that uh, the x variable is from the parent class and y variable is from the child class. But if you do not use, suppose here it is not mandatory to be used because the computer can easily recognize that x variable belongs to C1 and y variable belongs to C2. So here also, if we do not use it, it is perfectly fine because there will be no problem in differentiating the two variables. So now if we run this program, and if we want to see the output, you can see we are getting the output without using the super keyword and this keyword. Why? Because the name of the variable are different. So it has no problem. The computer will have no problem to understand that X belongs to the parent class and Y belongs to the child class. But in this case, what will happen since these two variables are having the same name? So here, if we do not use super and this, then we will not be able to access. Suppose I do not use super and this, what will happen? Then we will not be able to access the parent class variable because parent class variable will be hidden. Here, both times this x will be accessible only and this x will be hidden. So to access the parent class, when the names are same, the super keyword is mandatory, but when the names are different, it is not mandatory. Now, if we like run this program, and check whether what is the value of super.x. Since you can see that we have not assigned the value to super.x, the super.x value will be the default value 0. See here, sorry, child class is x and this is the superclass. Super. Here you can see we cannot assign the value. Okay, here we are assigning, and both times, first the value of the child class will be 5 and then the value will be 6. So when we print, the value of the child class will be 6. You can see the value will be 6 in the child class. Why? Because it is both time it is using the same variable. It is assigning 5 first and then it is assigning 6. So first value of 5 will be deleted and second value will be overridden. And we will not be able to access this without using the super. Now, if we mention here super dot x, then what will happen? This a value will go to the parent class, and when we print it, the value 5 will be printed. Now you can see super class is getting the value 5 and child class is getting the value 6. So this is the use of super keyword and this keyword when there are same names, then we use super keyword and this keyword. Now I'll try to give one example of super function. These are the super keywords. And let us now quickly access the super function. I'll copy this to save some time. I'll also copy the main function. Okay, now here we have a parent class, default parent class. The value is 0, and we'll have a parameterized. Okay, so we have a base class C1. It has one variable and two constructors. One is the default constructor, one is the parameterized constructor, and then we have a show function. Here we have a by variable, and let us copy everything and put it here. And this will be C2 and value. So the default value is 10. The default value for y plus 20. I'm creating a scenario so that we can understand the importance of super function here. Okay, so the program is ready. I'll try to explain this program. So let us come to this program. There's the parent class. A normal parent class, nothing is special. We have one variable x. We have one default constructor. This will assign the value 10. One parameterized constructor, whatever value will be assigned will go to this. We have a show function. Okay, now we create a child class. So in this child class, this is the default constructor. And if we want to call the parent class constructor from the child class, we want this constructor to be called. So we call super function. The super function, when we call the super function, it will call this. If we do not pass any value, suppose we do not pass any value. Okay, so it will call the default function. And in this case, when we are passing some value, super, then it will call this function. So what does super function do? Super function calls the parent class constructor. So it will call, this will call C1, this function, default function. And here, this will call C1 parameterized this function. Okay. Now, when we have a show function here to display the value of y. We have a show function here to display the value of x. So this is show and this is also show. So if we call show function from here, what will happen? It will call this show and this show of the parent class will be hidden. So what we are doing, we are creating a display function. And here in the display function, we are calling super.show. We'll call the super class show function. And this dot show will call the this show function. So now we are creating the first object obj1. So this C2 class object will have two variables a and b, two variables x and y, x of parent class and y of child class. And what is happening here, we are passing this value 5 and 6 to a and b. So this 5 and 6 will go to a and b, and from here we are calling the parent class constructor. So the value of a will be assigned to x. So value of a is assigned to x, that is 5 goes to x, x becomes 5 and 6 y is assigned to y. And when we call the display function here, let us remove this for now. Let us call this sample 3 of the static library obj1 dot display. This display will call super dot show. Super dot show will print the value of x and the value of y should be printed. Let's see why it is now printed. There is some issues. Is there any error in this program? Example 3 what c2 dot display. No such method c2 dot display. Okay. OBJ. Okay. C2 dot display. C2, we have a C2 class. C2 class is there. Perfect. We have a display function. Then the display function C2 dot display. Then the display function. Let's check what is the error. obj1 dot display. exception in thread main, no such method as C2 dot display. What is wrong? In fact, C2 dot display. Let's change this C11. C2, C22. Now it is coming. See, X is 5 and Y 6. What was the error? Since we have a class in this folder here, so that's why it was not creating another class. So I have changed the name to execute this in the same folder. Since we are having this, that is why this problem was there. So now you can see that when we are calling display, it is first printing the value of X, then printing the value of Y. See, X is 5 and Y is 6. So how X is being called? X is being called from uh, super dot show. This super dot show will call the base class and this dot show will call this class. Now, if we suppose create another object of C2 and this is default. This is the case of default. So let me comment this now. If I comment this now, so what will happen? This default constructor will be called. It will call the base class default constructor. So X will be 10, Y will be 20. So if we run this program, X is 10 and Y is 20. This is how we can use the super and this. I hope super keyword, this keyword super function is clear to all of you. We have used super keyword here to call two functions, show, because the parent class also has a show function and this is also show. So whenever there is a function overriding or variable overriding, we use super and this to differentiate.